Ancient Sumer and the land of Shinar. The Sumerian civilization is the earliest known historical civilization in Mesopotamia, located in modern-day Iraq, and is arguably the first civilization in the world. So who are the Sumerians? Do they represent a very ancient people in prehistoric Mesopotamia, or did they come from some other country? And if so, where did they come from, and when did they arrive? This important problem has been debated again and again ever since the first relics of the Sumerian civilization were brought to light more than a century ago and is still with us today. However, this is only a theory, but I believe the problem of the origins of the inhabitants of ancient Sumer can be solved by looking at the biblical narrative, the dates of recorded history, and from the ancient name of Sumer itself. According to the book of Genesis, Adam was created around 5500 BC. 2,000 years or so later, the flood took place at around 3500 BC. The same date historians believe writing was invented in Sumer, or ancient Mesopotamia. The Bible states that after the flood, the whole earth was of one language, and as they journeyed together, quote, they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and dwelt there, unquote. Genesis chapter 11, verse 2. This plain as described in the Bible is where the people built the Tower of Babel. The name Babel is where the name Babylon derives its origin. Additionally, Sumer is known as the plain of Babylon, and we can all agree that Babylon is located in ancient Mesopotamia. So, if the land of Shinar is where the Tower of Babel was built shortly after the flood around 3500 BC, then both the origin of where the inhabitants of Sumer came from and when may be answered. Going further, the Bible states that after the flood, the Ark of Noah came to rest on the mountains of Ararat, at the borders of modern-day Turkey and Armenia. Since both the Tigris and Euphrates rivers have their origins in Armenia and end in Sumer, modern-day Iraq, then it is very plausible that the survivors of the flood and their families could have traveled down the area between the rivers until they decided to settle in Sumer. Also, in the opening verses of the book of Daniel, Scripture directly links the land of Shinar with Sumeria and Babylon. Quote, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, into Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar. Unquote. Daniel chapter 1, verses 1 through 2. So here we see plainly that Sumer and the land of Shinar are one and the same. Interestingly, the name Sumer in ancient times was pronounced Shumer, very close to the name Shinar. In conclusion, ancient Sumeria is the location of where writing was invented around 3500 BC, and this is roughly the same date and place where we find the beginning of civilization as written in the Bible. Additionally, we see the connections of the biblical land of Shinar with the ancient Sumer from various passages found in Holy Writ. Following both the secular scholastic historians and Bible historians, it is possible not only to match the date of the history of writing, but also the geographical location of the beginning of history in a post-flood world. This is the Leap of Faith.